Hello gamers, Powerword Heal here, and we are back for the re-release of WoW Classic. So I kind of gave some details about where I've been and stuff like that. If you care about that, check out the previous video, which I'll link in the description. If not, don't worry about it, because we're going to be here to stay this time and making a ton of Classic or content for the new WoW Classic launch. Now, what type of content we're going to make, that's what this video is going to be about. So we'll kind of get right into things, and I'll just kind of go down the list of what I have in mind here. And, we may add or remove some things as time goes on, but this is pretty much what you're going to be expecting. So in the next couple days, I'm going to try and do some basic leveling content. This is going to be centered around Priest. I'm not an expert Druid leveler or Shaman leveler, and I'm probably going to be playing Horde, so you're not going to see a Paladin leveling guide. But it's kind of fine because I tend to think that Priest is the one that has the most interesting decisions anyway. Although I guess Druid also and Shaman. Shaman has an interesting thing where at some point I think you're actually supposed to go Elemental after level 40 or something. I think that's the kind of the secret tech for that. But so it's one of the more interesting things. So there's some stuff to cover there, and I'll do a video specifically on Priest, and then I'm going to be doing a video on kind of my leveling philosophy, because I think that this version, the one thing about this version of the game that I think can be a turnoff for some people is kind of the grind to get to 60. And I'm a little bit surprised that we're actually not getting an experience boost, because it is going to be a bit of a shorter duration or time frame for the season that's supposed to be 1 year. I think, right? So I'm a little bit surprised about that, but yeah, it can get to be a bit of a slog sometimes. So I have some kind of just general tips and mindset things to kind of keep in mind while you're playing, keep things moving forward, and hopefully help you guys stick it out all the way to level 60. So I'll do those two videos, and then we're going to kind of get into the sort of late game stuff. We'll move on into that. We're going to talk about add-ons, what add-ons I use. I tend to like to be very minimalistic with my add-on usage. So, yeah, we'll get into that. And then I really like to talk about Prebis as well. Prebis is pretty commonly known and discussed, but I kind of want to talk about the pieces that are you really want to get and are really easy to get, and then I'll tell you kind of where you can substitute things in if you guys don't want to get every last best Prebis piece down to the edge of the earth. I'll also talk about alternative pieces, which I feel are pretty much equivalent, or sometimes in certain cases even better than the listed Prebis, and I'm going to get into more detail about that when I actually make the video. But to give a quick example, I would basically just say that a lot of the Prebis lists you're going to be looking at for healing is kind of based on speedrunning, right? These are players that are in super high level guilds that are basically just planning on being in a raid where they're moving nonstop, right? So when you're in that type of situation, the stats that you're kind of looking for change a bit. For example, the value of something like intellect just goes into the floor, right? Because if you're never going to remax your mana, or you're only going to remax your mana maybe 1 or 2 times during the raid, then you lose a lot of potential value that intellect could otherwise have. Whereas if you're kind of if you're playing in a more normal guild, you're going to fight with full mana, then the value of intellect is a lot higher than what you're going to be seeing on some of these Prebis lists and stuff like that. So I'll make videos about stuff like that. I'll contextualize everything for you guys. And yeah, so talk about the Prebis, and then I'll teach you how to make your MC dream list, basically. So I think a lot of we'll make a list, or make a video talking about loot, kind of loot types, right, for loot systems. But I'm guessing that for most people, it's going to be loot council or loot list. Loot council or soft-res, and I'll teach you kind of things you can do to put yourself in a good position for both of those types of systems. The system that I'm going to be using and we're probably going to be using in my guild is loot list. And I feel like that's the superior system. I'll make a whole video on loot list and the different types of loot systems. But I feel like the advice I'll be giving is actually probably most pertinent for loot council guilds, because loot council guilds are kind of like the guilds where there's a lot of kind of drama around certain items, right? And my thing with this channel when I'm doing loot videos for raids is that I want to kind of help you guys be able to navigate that drama and come out on top in as many cases as possible. And sometimes what that'll mean is like giving up items that are perceived to be really good because of their rarity, but we're going to be looking at things from like a cost benefit analysis. So, like, yeah, this item might be like the rarest item and it might be like the hardest to get, but does that mean it's actually the best? Like, what is it contributing to you in this specific spot in the game? Right? In other words, if I trade my prio on this item, can I get other items in exchange, potentially even multiple items that'll have a greater net increase on my ability and my output in the raid, right? So that's something we're going to be focusing on here, and that's how we'll approach the loot stuff. We're not going to be going, I'm not just going to sit here and give you Abyss list, because we already know that, right? It's not useful information for you guys. You can go on Wowhead and look that up in 2 minutes. So we're going to be really getting into the nitty gritty and what you should aim for if you want to be like maximally efficient with your time and energy spent playing the game. And then there's going to be how to plays that are going to come out. So I can probably do those for every class because I have quite a bit of experience for every class. I'm going to be maining priests, but like I said, I have quite a bit of experience with all the classes, so I can do how to plays for priest, druid, shaman, paladin, what you're kind of thinking about in raid. And that's the thing too, is like, these can be very simple, obviously, but I'm going to try and like go at it from a mentality perspective in terms of like what I'm thinking about when playing, how I make decisions, and kind of like I want to help you guys set up kind of like think of it like a decision tree in your head, almost like a programming type thing, right? Where if you get used to using this kind of like sort of framework, then it's going to be really easy for you to make on-the-fly decisions in the raid and like adapt to things really fast, because most of the game is not super hard, right? And a lot of the healing is kind of going to be somewhat regimented. You're probably going to have assignments in most of your guilds and stuff like that. But it's really like when things kind of break down a little bit, and that's when you have a chance to kind of show like your potential as an individual player. So being able to perform well in those moments and kind of take advantage of those opportunities as they come, I think that's what makes a really good healer in this game. So I'm going to be trying to like prepare people for like how to deal with like certain situations, what they should be looking out for, and stuff like that. So that's how we're going to approach the guys. It's not just going to be like generic, like we're going to go through every ability, just state what they do, useless information. It's not going to be stuff like that. We're going to try and get into the nitty gritty on it. And then other than that, we're just going to do like, we'll also probably do specific strategies for the bosses as well. I really like doing that. I think that's one of the most effective ways you can become a better player, is like not only just having a mastery of your class fundamentally in terms of understanding what your abilities do and be thinking about how you want to use them, but you really want to be thinking specifically about the situation you're trying to apply them to. And obviously that is kind of the same for anything in life, right? Like the more specific practice you can get, or a specific thought in any given area, the more success you're going to have in that area, obviously, right? So we're going to do like specific boss by boss, how I play this boss to maximum efficiency type of deal, right? And we can do that for various classes as well. And then the last thing that's going to be on this channel is kind of like miscellaneous topics that just pertain to the game. So things like I'm probably going to make a video about the GDKP changes very soon and stuff like that. I might make a video just about what I didn't like about SOD in the next couple days, but we're going to mostly keep it to era stuff. But yeah, so basically anything that kind of like is a general topic in the world of the game, maybe I'll comment on from time to time. And if you guys want me to talk about anything specific or anything like that, just feel free to leave that in the comments. And obviously I read all the comments and stuff like that, so yeah, I'll try and respond to things as they come up via that. So that's pretty much everything. Yeah, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward to making content, and really, really happy to be playing Classic WoW again. It's funny, I logged back in. I hadn't played in a bit. I'm playing all these other MMOs, kind of like just a little bit here and there, like testing out new things and stuff like that. And man, nothing feels like this game. I might even make a whole video ranting about that, but like this game from 2004 just like feels so good. Just like walking around the world in this game feels better than like playing and doing combat in other games, other than like modern games that are just like, they just don't even work as well, you know? So yeah, just really excited to be back home and playing Classic WoW. So thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.